Welcome to Envision Radio from the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise, News Radio 98.9, 1070 AM WINA. In the studio today, it's just us.
It's a holiday special.
Lone Wolfing it, the Price and Marki holiday special.
Like the what is that? The guy, the cartoon, Snoopy and them.
Who? Oh yeah. Oh,
Like
that's right. They just run that Peanuts thing every single year. So maybe we'll do this. Will be an annual tradition.
Yeah.
We'll just forget a guest once in early December, and we'll just do the thing. I do have a question for. I actually do have a question for you, and it's something that's been talked about in my house. When does the Christmas tree go up?
You won't believe this. Our Christmas tree was up before Thanksgiving.
See, that's insane.
I'm
behavior.
not gonna. I'm gonna tell you when we put it up.
No.
Yes, I am.
No.
It was the week after the election. We needed a little joy.
What?
When was that?
Your tree's been up for a month?
Was that November 5th, right?
Yeah.
My mother put up the Christmas tree in our house the week after. She said that something felt off in her spirit. Shout out to my mom. Shout out to my mom. She felt something was off in her spirit.
Okay.
And that she needed some joy. And she goes big. She's like lights outside, lights inside.
Did all that happen at the
tree.
same time too?
She did a slow rollout. So she has a Christmas shed.
Okay, a phased rollout.
She did a rollout where
Okay.
it was like, I'm gonna put up 2 trees today. I'm gonna put up the garnish today. Like
Okay.
it was definitely like.
And
big,
these other trees are
big.
smaller trees, presumably,
She has
right?
3 full-size trees.
What?
She has one in the kitchen, one in the living room, and then one in the basement where I stay. Full size, like bigger than me. And they're all themed.
They're fake.
They're fake.
Okay, I was about to say this.
We don't do real
okay,
trees.
all right,
I'm
that's
anti-real tree. I'm sorry about the people out there that sell real trees.
Interesting. Why? Because you got to sweep up all
You
the
gotta sweep
petals.
up.
Listen,
And I like pests.
man.
What the world? Them trees was outside.
Yeah, those things. I mean, when they get real prickly too, it's a whole.
But
trying to move a real Christmas tree out of your house and just
I don't
and just
understand.
all the stuff falls off.
But I heard there's like controversy that like getting a fake tree is like anti-Christmas. It's almost like the idea is anti-Christmas. It's like that whole thing of taking Christ out of Christmas. It's like we're straying.
Did that.
Yeah, we're straying. We're straying from what this thing should be. It's supposed to be real. Real people get trees. Real. It's definitely a
Real Christians sweep those pine needles.
It's definitely like you're an abomination.
Really?
Get a real tree in your house.
Based on the tree.
Based on the tree, not just the Christmas thing. Happy holidays.
Interesting.
But the tree, like it's a part. It's in the sphere of like these things you're doing wrong because you're a sinner.
That feels so violently American.
Yes, no, it is.
Right?
It's
like we've conflated all these things.
You're cutting people's jobs
because
now someone can't go out and cut trees.
Right.
It's like you're anti-American.
But also
that's
to play that angle of like there is some, I don't know, are there religious ramifications to the actual realness of your Christmas tree?
Yep.
I didn't know that, but we're not mad about like Cyber Monday.
Baby Jesus
that's
didn't
not
have no fake Christmas tree in the manger. Check
That's
it.
true.
Check the Bible.
That is true. That is true. He did
They
not.
didn't have plastic needles.
Mary
at their
and
house.
Joseph, there was no Temu for their Christmas decorations, so I don't
that'd
know
be
what to
funny.
tell you about that. Okay, second question. So the tree's up early,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's all well and good.
November 8th.
That's wild. When does Christmas music start playing?
We started playing Christmas music probably the week before Thanksgiving. I bought my mom a CD player stereo, so like it plays CDs.
Okay.
And she hasn't played a CD in like 10 years.
Because who has?
And she was like, please buy this for me. And I was like, oh, cool. So I was like, I didn't know you had CDs. I ain't seen you play a CD in 10 years.
They're
She's like,
somewhere. They're in
she
those
was like,
big- those
I have
big-
all the CDs
Yeah.
that we played when you were a child.
Sure.
I said, like, somewhere?
Yeah.
She was like, yes. I was like, oh, okay, I'll buy the CD player
Same
for
with
you.
VHS tapes. Yeah.
And she starts playing them, and she goes and gets like the Destiny's Child Christmas, like
Wow.
Whitney Houston on the beat.
Sure.
So like maybe 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
3 weeks ago.
Okay. So
Is your Christmas
what
tree up?
is our Christmas tree's up? Our Christmas tree went up the weekend after Thanksgiving. So
Boo, you're late.
last weekend, and when the kids got involved and they had a great time, and it's
Is it
already,
like a kid's tree or is it like professional?
No,
Like,
well, I don't know if it's professional.
Professional
but it is
meaning an
it is
adult
a
did
real
it, not
fake
like
tree.
you let kids put up handmade ornaments.
Well, my kids are only 4 and 2, so we haven't quite
it's not
graduated
enough
to
for
that phase yet. They put the ornaments on the tree, which is its own thing, and
Are they plastic? And nothing's
oh
glass.
my God, yes. Are you kidding me?
You ain't letting no kid put no
not
real
even
ornament.
close. I mean, my 2-year-old just runs by and just swatting him and the dog are just a team of destruction. What was the first Christmas song? Are you in on the Mariah Carey Infinite Money glitch?
I am a person that like is gonna run it up for her.
Is that right?
I run in.
I'm going to say something that I don't know if someone's going to agree with. Is that, and we were talking about this person off air, the Ariana Grande, Santa Tell Me.
I've heard it.
That's a song.
Please stop.
That's a song. That's a song, and I will say it
God.
right here, right now. I will play that more than I will play the Mariah Carey.
You know what's really crazy? It's weird that you're giving Ariana Grande all this play, and now she in Wicked.
Yeah.
You giving her too much play now.
It's a signal. It's a canary in a coal mine. It is a signal for something. She's on to something. She is going to be the new. She's going to be the new Mariah Carey. Not to that level. Not to that level.
They did a collab too.
Oh, did they really?
Because at the beginning of Ariana Grande's singing like big career, pop career, people were like comparing her like falsetto,
I can see that.
air whistle
Sure.
to Mariah Carey, and people thought they were beefing about it. And then and Mariah Carey don't play that like
right.
Like she's not me, so like I'm not scared of that.
That's right.
She's a child.
And plus,
I got 16 acting Grammy credits. Like,
right. And I'm like, I've crested that hill already.
We're not even in the same league, so I'm not offended. So she went in. To show people she wasn't offended, she went and did a collab with her. And was like,
really?
Yeah, it's my child.
Well, I think also Mariah Carey's kind of like, look, the majority of my income is passive income from a song I made 100 years ago. So like, I don't need to do anything. Like I'm good.
I'm actually gonna play the on Ariana because I've heard it.
Good.
But you know, Coco Jones just put out a Christmas EP, and I was actually very because I don't like new people making Christmas music.
See,
I don't like new people making Christmas music.
There's not a lot to go around.
Yeah,
right?
It's like we've done it. I don't want to keep hearing you make a cover of Santa Baby.
That's right.
Ooh. I don't want to keep hearing you make a
That's
cover.
right. Unless you have something that's like really, really, really different. I will give like pentatonics kind of thing.
Yes.
Like, okay,
I enjoy the pentatonics.
You're doing something else. But I don't know that I need to hear Michael Bublé and John Legend sing the same song.
Yeah, it doesn't
both
make sense.
Great, like them both, but again, right? Yeah, I don't need a bunch of different versions.
So I don't like covers. I usually don't like
Miley Cyrus singing Sleigh Ride. I'm like, I
don't need it. So that's why I don't do Christmas covers. But this is like her the 6-7 songs that's on the EP, the Christmas EP. Yeah. And her name's Coco, so she played on the like Coco for Christmas, like
of course.
Yeah, she played it up, and it's like 6 songs, and they all seemed very new to me.
Interesting.
And I was like, hold up.
All right.
I thought she was gonna be, and I just played it just to see what it's about because I like her.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be covers of Santa Baby.
Sure.
And it actually was new songs.
Okay.
I was like, people are still making Christmas music, and you don't believe things are new. But, you know, in the sense that the lyrics are different.
We're just reinventing Christmas music, which
I was
think
like,
is interesting.
That's good, but I do not want to hear covers.
Unless
I'm listening to Luther Vandross and Whitney Houston.
See, now, absolutely.
Like, old people can do covers.
Old people.
Old people can do covers. I don't want to hear young people. I don't want to hear Ariana Grande's peers.
Yeah, that's right.
Singing covers. What are we doing that for? Your voice ain't heavy enough.
Yeah, I buy that. Yeah, if you're sort of an OG of the game, you've earned your stripes.
Like
right?
Boys and Men can do their Christmas album. You know, like we can listen to them do Let It Snow, and it also at the time felt different than the Let It Snow of its day.
That's right.
So that was different. Like Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow, and then like they did the R&B version.
That's right.
It was even at the time that's a cover, right? But it's like different enough that like people fell in love with it. We're not even listening to the original anymore.
No.
So that's okay. But I'm not hearing you sing no word for word, reverb for reverb cover.
Yeah, let's see. So if we go to and we're just looking at like the best Christmas songs of all time, a lot of them, like not many of them are what we would consider modern. You know what's number 3 though? Santa Tell Me by Ariana Grande.
No, it's not.
Right behind. Well, I mean, based on
this person.
Some blog.
I think she was
right
good in it.
Right behind
But
All About for Christmas
cover.
and Mariah Carey. I'm telling you, that is going to be the next. Mariah will have her thing.
I have not heard that song since it came out.
She will defrost in November.
I'm not worried
year.
about Mariah Carey.
But I'm telling you, this will be the one that gets played to a degree where she will have an income stream off of this.
Let me put it on my list. I'm gonna listen to it today.
Right. So look, here's the other ones like Christmas from You, release date 1963. Let's see.
It's getting old.
Oh, people are sort of Sabrina Carpentering in here.
No, they're lying. So this
Ella Fitzgerald and Louis Armstrong.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Classic. Yeah.
Who's putting Sabrina Carpenter
Bing
on a
Crosby,
best
like,
Christmas song list?
Man,
You're losing credibility. Is this Billboard?
It's worse. It's Time
As
Out.
you know, they just announced Beyonce as the star of the century.
Is that right?
It's a lot of backlash, as you could imagine.
Why is this?
Because Taylor Swift is second.
Christmas Tree Farm by Taylor Swift, also on this list.
Yeah, okay.
Paul McCartney on this list.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's a lot of the old school stuff. Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Jackson 5.
Yes. Yeah, the Jackson 5 has those are some great Christmas covers.
Yeah.
Their Christmas cover album was pretty good.
That's right. Yeah, it was pretty good. Brenda Lee, 1958, Rocking Around the Christmas Tree. Yeah, so a lot of old stuff. Yeah, let's not reinvent.
Also,
the
Santa
wheel
Baby,
here.
in the last also decade has like come through controversy, and I think that's why people can do that one because they were like, isn't it kind of weird that like she's trying to go home and like he's trying to make her stay, and I'm sure that's like. I don't know what's after millennials, Gen Z. It's very a Gen Z take about the situation.
Sure.
But that song went through some controversy like 5 years ago online.
Interesting.
Yeah, there was like, that song seems really predatory. I promise. It's coming out of it now. They're like, yeah. But it went through a predatory phase.
Sure.
Like, that's not good. Listen to the lyrics. He won't let her go home.
Right.
You know how
that's the whole "Baby It's Cold Outside" thing.
Yes.
Which again, that's more clearly
yeah. But anyway,
weird.
And I think that's what I meant. Sorry.
Oh, that one. Yeah, that one.
I meant "Baby Cold." Whatever.
Does read a little weird. We're like, all right, whatever.
That's the one. That's the one I mean. They went through controversy. Wrong song.
There's that whole conversation about what's the other one about where dad is Santa.
Yes. That one also went through some controversy.
Right. Like, all right, man.
I've heard renditions of people redoing "Baby It's Cold Outside," like, but they've changed the lyrics.
Yeah.
You know,
sure.
Like,
Sure.
If you wanna go home, you can.
Right.
I won't make you stay.
Sure. Look, this is what we do.
I'll sleep on the couch. I've heard that. I'm like, this is crazy.
We've overdone it in the other direction, right?
That's ugly.
So, that's just what we do. How was? Did you travel for Thanksgiving?
I don't. I stay in Charlottesville.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. Do you travel?
No, we got.
All your family's here, right?
A lot of our family's here. We also have the most and the youngest children.
Most, so 2.
Yep, and the
youngest 2 and 4.
That's right. So
you gotta come to us.
So for now, we are the place to be.
So do you host, or do your mom host?
We host.
And your wife cooks a lot of stuff, or do you cook a lot of stuff?
A little bit of a combination, right? We do some cooking. I can. So all the men on the dad side of my family cooked, and so I have vivid memories of
gender bending,
gender bending of cooking. So my dad cooks, and
I love it.
So that's a thing that I've I like to do. Now I also have a thing where I eat. My wife has told me I eat at bizarre times. Like I eat late. Like we were late dinner people. We
like
weren't
9,
6 o'clock dinner people. We were like,
oh, what's the late dinner? 16?
8.
Yeah, that's a late. That's what I'm saying. 8 is a late dinner.
Right.
6 is dinner.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So in my house, as we have been married and then have kids, obviously that schedule doesn't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Right. So I cook less now because of that. Because I'm like, I'll eat at 6. I'll eat at 8. I'll eat at 11. Like we gotta pace our way through the evening. But yeah, I remember that when we first started living together, and I cooked a lot, and then she was like, "Yo, why are you cooking at like 7:30?" I'm like, "I don't know. That's just when. What are you talking about? This is when people eat, right?" She's like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that." So,
I think that there's a cultural thing about how late you eat.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How? Are you a late eater?
I think my family eats about 7 or 8.
Really?
I've always heard that the standard time of dinner is 5 to 6. But that is for a different variety of people.
A different variety.
Like just different variety of people.
That's crazy.
But all the people I know that are in my variety eat late.
Really? I never even thought about that.
Yeah, black people eat dinner late.
Well, good. Then I feel less like it's a me thing.
No. We eat late, and I've heard that we've eaten late. I went to a friend's house in high school.
Yeah.
A variety of friend, and it was like light outside, and we ate dinner like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
Right.
We got off of school, and her mom had dinner waiting.
That's right.
And I was like, "Oh, what's going on? Is this a snack?" And she was like, "No, this is dinner."
Right.
I said, "Oh, the sun is out. It's like the sun is out."
What happens later?
And then then I ate the dinner, but like at 8 o'clock, I was hungry. Because your mind is telling you that it's dinner.
That's the thing.
And like I sat in my sleeping bag on the floor like hungry. Like I was like and the meal wasn't like huge. It was a very slight meal.
Sure. That's what I'm saying. Like what happens when you eat that early? Do you just go to bed at 7? Like what happens?
We didn't go to bed at 7. So maybe if we had, it'd been okay.
That's what I'm saying. What happens for the rest of the evening?
We went to bed at 11. So I had 7 hours.
That's what I'm saying. That's what happens. That's why we can't be doing that.
Yeah,
because
we eat dinner late. I ain't never ate dinner in the daytime. I was late.
No.
It's always been, and that is accounting for daylight savings time. When we push the clocks back and forth.
It's never light outside.
It has never been light.
It can't be light outside.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes I eat a late lunch. I mean lunch at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. Well, that is true too.
So
Yeah.
we eat dinner later especially because we don't know. Noon is not like a standard lunchtime for us.
Yeah. No. Nobody's. No. Noon comes too quickly.
It comes too quickly.
Yeah. No, I can't be doing all that. Oh my gosh. If you're just jumping in, this is Vision Radio from the United Wave Greater Charlottesville City of Promise News Radio 989 1070 AM WINA. Price and Marki here, the first annual
Holiday special.
So we were talking about this earlier too. We're talking about Wicked. We're talking about you know what else I saw too? I saw Moana 2 recently.
Oh, I heard it's great.
It's great. That's
I
good.
want to see that so bad. So my family has we have movie passes.
Oh,
so,
really?
So the one at Regal that like you can go every 90 minutes.
Wow.
And we've gone twice
Here's
before.
the hard part about Moana 2. Fabulous, right? The music in the first one is so good.
It's great. It's grand.
It's so good.
I don't know why people are saying the second one's good because it can't top that.
So that's the thing. If you go into it sort of, this is what I feel about sort of a lot of those kind of first crack, really strong animated movies. I think Encanto's got a great soundtrack too. I think trying
Sequels
to follow those up are hard and follow up music with that is hard. They do a good job. I think the story's cool. The music is good. It's got, I mean, it's got some good tunes. If you go into it thinking it's gonna
be Moana 1,
yeah, I don't think it quite has the musical heft. It's good though. It's good. And again, it's kind of
great at the box
kids
office.
loved it. It's crushing it at the box office. Yeah, there's a live action Moana that's happening. Apparently, there's Moana 3. They're gonna Moana this thing into the ground.
It's like battling with Wicked in the box office. I think it came out a week before, but it's like the money raised globally is about the same as Wicked, a little bit
it's
more
probably
than Wicked.
A lot of the same people.
Yeah,
it's like
I'm going
me.
to both.
I'm like took my kids to one. I'm going to the other one. We can just do it at the same time, honey. You sit in this theater. I'm gonna go see what's going on over there.
We've done that too.
We'll meet up.
Yeah, we're movie goers. We go to the movies.
That's interesting. I haven't been to the movies in a long time.
Yeah, I talked to Ella Jordan at the United Way.
Sure.
She said she ain't seen a movie in 3 years.
The last movie I saw,
not counting Piano Lesson that United sponsored at the film.
So the last movie that I saw that was not a work thing, that was not part of, because I saw, but even so, because what did I see? Something best part of the film festival might have been Black Panther.
So that's what she said. She said Black Panther.
That's every black person's movie touch point, because we were all in the same theater.
Yes.
It was every black person in Charlottesville.
The Black Professional Network had a screening at the Violet Crown, and I was there with Ella.
Yeah.
And I said, Ella, we was there, and I told her we was there together.
Yeah.
I said, Chad was alive when that came out.
Yep.
That was about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah. I said, I have seen over 400 movies. Like, I don't know how many. I probably see 4 movies a month.
What?
One a week.
Are there enough good movies to do that?
So when you have a pass, it doesn't matter. I told Ella that. I was like, we go see movies that got a 6.
Okay. Yeah.
50% popcorn rating, whatever they call it.
Right.
You don't have to care. My parents go a lot. They go for date night. That's all they do.
Interesting.
There is not enough good movies, but we go see movies.
Yeah.
Like I said, in November I saw Gladiator.
How was that?
Denzel is an actor beyond our time.
Is he's the villain in this, right?
Yes, he is the villain.
So that, I mean,
and he is killing it. He can act his butt off.
Listen, yeah. I mean, look, for people,
he is Shakespeare.
For people of a certain generation, and that's my generation, to a degree our generation, like Training Day is just Training Day, and even to a degree American Gangster, but still Training Day is just like still that one thing where you're like that. Look, for me, some of the two like best performances I've seen, I think, are Heath Ledger's the Joker and Denzel as in Training Day, where you're just like, that was like scary and believable and like just rotten in every possible way, right?
Yeah, no, he's in pure form here. I mean, and I heard an interview that he's done. Like
I did see that.
He has like one more movie to finish this year, and he's done.
He's not young.
He's not, you know what? I don't know. I look at him and I feel young and I feel motivated. He doesn't feel old to me. And I think a lot of people are old. So
he is well into his 70s.
No,
he's 70.
No,
he's 70.
He's 70 years old.
He's 70 in 2 weeks.
Y'all, I swear I did not know Denzel was 70. I thought he was 58.
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I don't feel as bad as I felt 2 minutes ago.
Well, his kids are 40. So
I didn't know how old they were.
His son, who was in
Piano Lesson.
Was that John David, the one who was in Ballers?
And I won't talk about him.
The Black Klansman.
Yeah,
whatever. Why? What happened to him?
I don't enjoy his acting style.
Really?
And that's all I'll say about that. And that's after 11 Denzel, so you'd think that would rub off, but it doesn't. And maybe it's the opposite of that.
That feels like a hard act to follow.
And maybe that's what
Right?
it.
Like,
no,
I don't,
I
like-
feel like I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, so I wouldn't say that's
really?
it.
Really?
But but like I said, Denzel was in true form in Gladiator. I thought he was. I thought he was the best actor
Is that
in
right?
the thing.
Yeah.
And only thing I would say about Gladiator is that the ending felt a bit off. Like the rest of the movie was great, and then the
Yeah.
ending felt like, oh, we're done now. I was like, that's a weird way to end the movie.
I read something that was like, it was a lot of the first movie. Was
Yeah.
it like, was that it? Like, was it a
They
new
had
thing?
They
Was it
used
kind of-
flashbacks, which
okay.
is, I think, an interesting take.
Interesting. Okay.
Because like you don't need to keep relying on the laurels of a past movie if you're going to do this movie. You need to focus on this movie.
Could it have stood? Can it stand alone? Like,
Yes. I think
you
it
don't
could
have to have seen the
no,
first one.
No.
Interesting.
No, but I would say that Denzel's carrying it.
Right. Well, you know how some of the Star Wars movies, you're like, none of this makes any sense if you haven't seen
Yes.
some
And
of
I've
the
seen some of
rest
the
of the
Star- yes,
canon, where
yes.
you're like, if you jump in, you're like,
It's hard.
whoa, there's too much.
Yeah, I've had to do some googling
There's
to
a lot
like
of
follow
Googling.
that.
That's right.
Because I
yeah.
haven't seen all of
That's
them. but
exactly right. And also, what order are we in?
Yeah,
And,
you
like,
don't
where
need to
is
see the
this?
first one. I think Denzel's doing such a great job that you forget that everybody else is doing an okay job, and it's definitely elevating the film. And then the ending needed, I think, because Denzel did such a great job, that the ending needed to be stronger
Okay.
on his for him.
Okay.
So
okay.
that's. But I see a lot of movies.
Wow.
I saw Wicked twice. I've seen Wicked twice.
That's crazy.
Gladiator. What else did I see this last in November? I saw some one more thing, but
Wow. Get to Moana.
yes.
Well worth
I'll
it.
go to Moana this weekend.
Well worth it. What I was gonna say, it's Saturday. It's Saturday because I was gonna say we have a holiday party. We had holiday parties. Okay, how did they go? Did it go well?
It went so well. I love like seeing all the people from the past year. I love hugs. I love
Let's
small
year in
talk.
review this. Give me the United Way year in review. This is my first full year away from the United Way.
Oh my God, is it?
Well, I left last summer, so I had half of
Yes.
2023. I've been out. What happened? What has been going on in 2024?
We've hired a lot of amazing new people. The early education sector of the United Way is doing amazing. A lot of classroom observations, a lot of Blue Ridge Ready region work with trying to get people in slots, right? Like making sure that all children in our community can thrive. I forgot what the number of slots we need. It's like
It's 4 figures.
Yeah,
it's over 1,000.
It's thousands
Yeah.
of spots that kids do not have, right? And so working on the spots that we do have, getting children the best care, and off to the best start that they can. So I think the additional staff is definitely a key part of that. The Blue Ridge Ready region is so huge, I can't even name it. It's over 100 localities or something like
Yeah,
that.
sure.
And
It's a
I know
huge
it's
undertaking.
huge.
It's a huge
And so I
undertaking.
know the people over there are doing amazing work. Ella and the rest of the Impact team, the FRTF, which Thea Promise is a partner in, is doing great work. The Family Improvement Program, Prosper. So it's trying to get people driving lives forward. Working on a program with helping fix cars. I know it's like you need to get to work and you wake up in your car.
Sure.
Doesn't work. How do you get there? And so
Yeah,
a program with Lyft to help people get to and fro temporarily into their cars. Victoria program that we're working on with Carter Meyer Automotive.
Yeah, shout out
And
to
so working on
Liza
that.
and her team.
We've had a day of caring since you left.
That's
At
right.
Cinterre, Martha Jefferson, shout out to them for their partnership and work on that, and the importance of volunteerism in our community. I think my thing is that we're always, it's Day of Caring is, one of our largest events, but it's not really about one day of service. It's, to me, creating lifelong volunteers. And what I hear from people is that they learned that, they didn't know about some of the organizations that they go and volunteer at. It's like, this is my first time at so-and-so's organization. I didn't know so-and-so's organization did this or needed any help. And now that I do know, I'm going back. I'm taking my family. Yeah. People are like, oh, yeah, I went back and I donated money.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people, I wish there was a way to track that because we're not their organization, but they volunteer with their group and then they become donors to those organizations.
Kidding.
I'm like, well, dang,
You got to take a cut of that.
Yeah,
you need,
hold up.
You need an admin fee on the top of that.
We partnered y'all up. But so I'm just happy to give spotlights to organizations that might be less well known but also need help. Like, can you imagine having 3 people on your staff and the grass is 6 feet high?
We've talked about that, right? There's so many. Like the size of all these organizations, right, is not necessarily indicative of the quality of the work.
No.
Right, and there's
2
all
people
these,
staffs out there are keeping a lot of things alive.
Yep.
The arts, the the medical field, the free clinic. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And
Well,
how
we
this
talk
is
to the birth sisters, and if we talk about early care and getting started and all
they
that,
only like
right?
4 or 5 people, right?
It's just those two as full timers.
Oh, the other people are part-time and volunteers?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like,
that's crazy.
If no one even knew they existed, it's like, if I volunteer with her for the first time and I didn't know she existed, I'm going home and I'm writing a check.
That's right.
And I think that's what people are just like,
that's right.
Dang, I spent my 4 or 5 hours here on Day of Caring,
Yeah.
but I left feeling like, we did great work, but we could do more.
Sure.
And like, I put my labor into it, but like, let me open my wallet.
Yeah.
And I think that's a powerful tool to volunteer. It's a foot in the door to learning about what we do, and you're now a part of what we do.
Yeah.
Because like, you just now folded or counted up diapers for the kids we serve.
That's right. Yeah.
And you didn't even know we serve kids.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So Day of Caring has passed, and now we just kicked off the Santa Fund for School Kids, which I also coordinate.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
I'm always I start listing off things that we've been working on and what I've been working on, and people are like, "Oh yeah, that too."
That's true, right? They're like,
yeah.
oh dang.
So the Santa Fund for School Kids, in partnership with WINA Radio,
that's right,
and the Daily Progress. It's 130 years old this year.
How old is it 130 this year?
I heard somebody say that it may be like the second or third largest like running charity in America.
What?
It's 130 years. It's 1894.
What?
Yeah, 1800s. I don't know when slavery ended, but 1894 is when the Santa Fund started. When did women get the right to vote? Right. When did women get the right to vote?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so what we want to track is suffrage against
suffrage. Yeah, what is
the
it?
Santa Fund for School Kids.
Yeah, what is it? 18.
So no. So the 19th. This is the 19th Amendment.
So
with suffrage. That was in the 20s.
20s, 1920s.
Hold on, let me see
we've been running the Santa
I should
Fund.
know this. I worked at the freaking museum with the Constitution. Suffrage. 1920. Yeah.
The Santa Fund has been running longer than women had the right to vote.
That's wild.
Yeah, I'm like, if that don't blow your mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's school supplies, coats, jackets, shoes, glasses. During COVID, we did wireless hotspots for people. Students are working at home. And so people give, and then the schools directly, the counselors and school teachers can give vouchers to children that they see in need. Maybe they see that their shoes are getting worn out, and then they provide the family with a voucher, and those vouchers can be used just like cash at participating retailers. And so the kid doesn't feel like, so-and-so took me and it's charity. It's like they're going to shopping with money, and then those receipts come to the United Way, and we work with the retailers as, dollar for dollar. And then for the people who donate, we have a very cool tribute system where people send in the gifts, and I get to read literally every tribute. It's like 600 a year. It's a lot of people, and people love checks. People think the tech, the tech industry is moving fast, but people send hardcore checks.
They do.
It's a lot of checks, and with every check, there's a tribute to someone still here, not with us anymore, and
people's pets.
Yes, a lot of pets. A lot of people love their pets, and like for me, it's like after you read 20, 30 tributes, it's like you start feeling the love. Like somebody sat down and wrote this to their mom. Somebody sat down and wrote this for their grandma. Somebody sat down and wrote this for their cat. It's like these notes are a combination of all the love in Charlottesville, and I freaking feel it every time I open a letter. Yeah.
Look at you.
So City of Promise year in review. Next up.
Man, I'll tell you.
Exact, man. Like, this is you.
Yeah, it's a lot, and it's a lot. I think it went by fast, and
did it?
And I think you start a job like this, or maybe it's just me, but with a lot of, you go in with sort of like a combination of like nervousness and eagerness. And I don't think you fully understand the gravity of it, right?
How would you?
Yeah, and so the energy around it was like, this is a cool opportunity. I grew up here, but then you're like, I don't want to blow it. But then you're like, I got all these ideas, and And then I think, like Mike Tyson said, right? Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. You realize most of your ideas weren't very good, or they're not going to work.
Mike Tyson just got punched in the face.
Man, that thing was cooked, but he made his money walking around with his butt out. Yeah, crazy. So you start there, and you have this. You try and figure out how to put all these pieces together, and like what the puzzle's going to look like at the end. And so I spent the first couple months just like trying to sort it out. Just not doing a lot of anything, which feels weird, right? You get put in this position where you can move stuff and you can make changes and you can do a lot of stuff, and you spend a lot of time not doing any of that. And I wanted to make sure that I had at least some semblance of what was happening,
what was going on
before you start just pulling levers. And you
like,
know,
I don't know how this program works, and I'm gonna add something.
That's
to
right.
it.
Scrap it, change it, but at the same time, right? You're inheriting a staff, and I got really lucky where it's an incredible group of folks, but you're inheriting a staff that is now looking at you like, "What's up?"
Yeah,
and you're like, "As you were." They're like, "Why are you here?" Right? So you have these bizarre moments where it's like, I'm not, how do you push and pull? And it's a new, you're introducing yourself to new people and to communities of people that have every sort of point of view of you and what you're doing, and every level of like, I don't want to be vulnerable, or I do. And it becomes a lot. And I say that in the context of what's happened in the last year is that we've found our footing in a way that really makes sense for us and for what's going on locally, right? And so this focus on education and access, and this focus on really making the point that education's not a school issue, it's a social problem, right? It's one that exists largely outside of the school. It's one that exists largely in our communities and in our homes. And certainly not at the expense of schools, right? I'm probably the biggest public school apologist you'll find, right? Both my parents were public school teachers for a combined 80 years.
Oh, wow. Is that,
they both taught almost 40.
Combined? Oh, my Lord.
Yeah. I married a public school teacher. I went to public school. And so I believe in the institution, but I believe that it is an institution that is only as good as the communities that support them. And the communities are only as good as the homes that support them.
Yeah.
And so until we tie those together, we are going to see what we've been seeing, which is the communities that serve the highest poverty students are the schools that are, quote unquote, struggling. I would argue that the school's not struggling, right? I would argue that the populations of those schools are struggling, and they need those resources to exist outside of the walls, right? The majority of your education doesn't come from a smart board or playing the recorder. It comes from what's going on in the 80% of the time you're out of school. What's your environment like? What are your extracurriculars? The opportunities for your parents? Is there food? Are you in a neighborhood that's has incidences of gun violence and all of the stuff that we're seeing in these neighborhoods? So we've been trying to drill down on that, and then you have all of that, and what does it mean? How do you boil that down into what do you do, right? Because you have these conversations, and we've had these conversations where you can look at each other and be like, well, like that's a lot.
Yes.
How do you operationalize any of this? And what we've talked about and what we're going to continue to do is figure out, we've got a piece of it, but y'all have a piece of it, and Ready Kids has a piece of it, and Computers for Kids has a piece of it, and the university, and there's so many entities that are playing in and around, we're all working with so many of the same people in a variety of ways. And this coordinated approach and this sort of integrated investment is something that we just need to get better at. And it's something that we as a community can do. We just haven't done it quite yet. We haven't quite found the magic of it yet. Yeah. And I think my whole thing is just to continue to be committed to it. I think that's the only way we do, because we keep talking about the same statistics, right? We say, well, economic growth over the past 10, 15 years was incredible. Charlottesville was incredible. The UVA's endowment's in the bajillions of dollars. Everyone's house is twice as expensive as it was a decade ago. Okay. And we all look at the same data and we go, ooh, right? Haven't moved the needle on poverty really at all, right?
It's crazy.
The literacy rate for our black kids in particular is well below the division average and well below the state average. However, the literacy rate for our black students in Northern Albemarle County is way above the state average and the division average. So what's the difference, right? What are you telling me? You telling me Baker Butler's just better?
Yeah, I saw a project by the Equity Center maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, and it was saying all this stuff, and it shocked me. I was like, not we doing way better financially, and people are doing way worse financially.
Yeah, right.
That's impossible.
Yeah.
That's an impossibility in a world that's just.
Right. Yeah. For all the Reagan folks, it didn't trickle down. Right, it didn't make it.
How does the city make more money than it's ever made in a 5-year period, and more people were impoverished? That don't make sense.
Right. So where does the investment go, and how do we invest in the things that are actually catalyzing the change? Right, and this is a little bit of a difficult conversation because I'm not saying don't invest in the schools, but what I am saying is that shinier equipment is not the way. Right, and we had this conversation last week. Spending $50,000, $40,000, $50,000 on signage might also not be the way. Maybe it is. But
You already
again,
know I said use the letterhead for
That's
the
right.
next year.
That's right.
Don't
You know,
if the letterhead costs $2,000, do not purchase the new letterhead.
and these are the conversations that I think we need to have. And we need to interrogate this process to say, okay, what is really driving the issues that we're seeing and the generational issues that we're seeing? What is driving the fact that at Trailblazer Elementary School, 22% of the black students are reading on grade level? 22. What's driving that? I don't think it's bad curriculum. I don't think it's poor teachers. I don't think it's
exactly.
a building that's in disarray. I don't think it's a lack of smart boards. I don't think it's not right. I don't think it's any of that. I think those kids are coming from the largest and oldest public housing site in Charlottesville. That's where it's coming from.
Yeah, I always hear interesting things. It's like, oh, I didn't think of that. I went to a party this past weekend at the Boys and Girls Club, like a holiday party, and they were talking about a program. There's like, I think it may have been at their Madison Club. Sorry if I'm wrong about any of this, but they had like their not Loaves and Fishes, but like a food bank that they partner with the food bank, I guess in Madison or one of their clubs. And that food bank sent the club members home with groceries. And you're like, hold up, I didn't know we could do that. Like, oh yeah, they're probably hungry. Like that doesn't feel like a place like. The Boys and Girls Club is so important. Like, I'm on their board.
Sure.
Shout out to the Boys and Girls Club. But it's like, oh, we can work together in a way that's like, the kids need a school. The kids need groceries at the school. Like, you know, like.
And we can reimagine this thing.
Yeah,
I think that's
like,
part of it is like, here's what I love about kind of where we are now with you know, the opportunity that I have and people like you and Ben Allen and other folks who are just willing to be like, people are like, well, this is how we do it. And finally, people are like, why?
Why? Oh, you know,
Like,
that's
for
my
what?
biggest thing.
Right?
I hate doing a thing just because we've done it that way.
For what?
You know that little ad lib story that people always tell about the turkey? Is it the turkey? A husband asked his wife, why do you always cut off the back end of the turkey before you cook it? She was like, I don't know. My mother always did it that way.
Yeah.
He said, let me go ask her. And he went to the mother-in-law was like, hey, why y'all always keep cutting off the end of the turkey? She was like, I don't know. My mother always did it that way. He went to the grandma. Hey, grandma, why do you always cut off the back half of the turkey? She was like, oh, in my day, we didn't have a refrigerator. And so we didn't have a pan big enough to hold a full turkey. Like, we didn't have a stove big enough to cook full turkey, and so we had to throw it out because we didn't have a refrigerator that could hold a full turkey, so we had to throw it out.
Right.
Out of necessity.
Sure. Yeah.
40 years later, we got a huge house, a huge stove, and a pan that can fit 2 turkeys.
Yep.
But we've been cutting the end of the turkey.
Sure.
And it's because we've always done it that way.
You don't
There
ask.
was no reimagining of traditions because traditions feel so sacred.
And it's, you know, and I think the other thing that we always do is that we talk about, well, it's hard and it's expensive and blah, blah, blah. And it should be. Right? Like, when did we get to a point where we say, well, here's the thing, right? We expect all these kids, all these young folks to learn the same. We're going to test them the same. We're going to give these SOLs and this and the third. We expect them to learn the same. Y'all get a bunch of stuff. Y'all don't get as much stuff. And then we look at them and go, what happened?
What happened?
Why didn't you get to grade level?
Why didn't you do it?
Right? And then we say, well, okay, how about this? What if we give you a little bit of stuff? Then can you get there? Like, what are we doing? Why aren't we, you know, like, why aren't we having that conversation? That's like, why are we giving short shrift to these families? Like, why are we saying y'all got to do more with less? Right? And then we have all this, well, it's an equity lens and a blah, 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 blah. And if I did that for them, I'd have to do that for everyone. I'm like, that's not what that means.
People are, you won't believe this, but equity, equality, and all these other things are slapping people in the face.
Yeah,
Definitions
that's right.
are hard.
That's right.
And I just heard that supposedly a lot of the nation have a below level read, like they can comprehend or read a little, but they like the comprehension of reading, like whether it is wrong, but like people aren't reading at a reading level
high.
that qualifies us to like interrogate propaganda. That's essentially, right?
No.
And so
no.
people can barely read. Adults 50, 40 years old can barely read.
Sure.
And you know, it's like a systemic problem. It's like, we thought you could read enough, you know? Like,
yeah.
And that was enough. We don't need you to read better than this. Third grade.
And let me ask you this. I got another question for you in this. Let's ask these interesting questions. We talk a lot about, you know, the world of DEI and DEI initiatives. And, ooh, tell me about that.
Oh, no, finish up.
I'm reacting. You couldn't see. I'm reacting to her facial expression. But this theory that it is become less. It has become less pro-social for those who it is intended to help. Do you find that to be true? Do you find that to be untrue? Do you find that it's sort of become cannibalized in a way that like we've focused so much on deciding if we should capitalize the B in black that we've forgotten that we actually should be helping people tangibly?
Yes. I do.
You know, and I say that in the context of this because
it happened. Yes, and now we're in a backswing of backlash. Like I think we overdid a thing. It's not right, but like we did a thing. We didn't do it well. We did it enough to make people feel good and hire people, and hiring lots of diversifying our workforce is one thing, but then those people staying a year because they still feel like they don't matter at all, and then they leave, and then it's back to the status quo, and those companies did what they said they were going to do, and those people are gone now, and it looks the exact same way it looked 20 years ago. But we did something, and that's what you asked us to do. We did something. Right. But then also now the thing that didn't really work anyway, people are mad about. It's like, well, we don't even need this. Well, it's like, dang, I don't know if it worked it's the best of its ability, and now you don't want it. Right. Now we're fighting for something that like I thought needed work anyway, and now it's like, yeah, y'all don't want us to have it either. Right. So I'd rather work with a system that's like needs work than to get rid of it in its totality because people don't like it anymore. Right. What supposedly it represents.
And I think there's also this argument. I find this to be interesting, and I need to do a little more research on this and make sure I get the numbers right. But I think we talk about sort of in your world particularly, right? DEI and belonging at the top end is to a degree a product of like all of these other things that have preceded that, right? Yeah. And people say this all the time, some genuinely and some not, but they're like, if I'm trying to hire a diverse group of people and a homogenous group of people applies, what do you want me to do, right? So what does that mean? To me, it means we're not doing any of the prep work.
Yeah, but so that's on the front end.
To create an environment where this DEI can be actually genuine and where you can actually hire diverse groups of people who are all qualified and you can make them feel like they belong and are there for a reason, and you're not like sort of consistently teetering on tokenizing people, right? And I say that in the context of if you look at, again, being education and literacy being our thing, if you look at literacy data that's public from what is it, school data, I want to get this, hold on, I want to make sure that this, whatever the site is, that's someone should, someone should check it. Yeah, if you Google
we need a fact checker.
You know what? As it grows, we will.
I'm not gonna lie, we be making up stuff.
.virginia.gov. But what it says is that the high school reading level, particularly for our black students, is below 50-ish%. It's in the 40s. Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the broader population is that way.
But the on-time graduation rate for that cohort's in the 80s. So what we're saying is these kids cannot read on grade level.
Yeah, but they're graduating.
But they're graduating on time.
Yes. Yeah, that's it.
So as we map these two conversations, what that says to me is that what we've done is just lowered the bar to accelerate people getting a high school diploma, quote unquote, to have a high graduation rate. And what that means for you is that you're looking out across this diaspora and saying, none of these people are qualified. What am I supposed to do? And let's keep going backwards, because what we've done is we've systematically lowered the bar so that we can say, look, all of these cohorts are graduating on time, but only one or fewer of those cohorts are graduating with the actual skills and foundational abilities necessary to do the next thing. Yeah. Right? It feels like if you were like, Price, can you run a mile and can you pass this mile test? I got to run it in 5 minutes. And I'm like, I cannot. And then
they're like, we'll give you 10 minutes.
And then they're like, yeah, we'll give you 8. And I'm like, bet. And they're like, look, you passed the test. I'm like, okay, cool, right? And then I go to the next thing, and they're like, okay, cool, 5 minutes. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, nobody ever told. They told me I could do 8.
Right. I thought it was something else. Yeah. I thought it was a different thing. So I think what we don't do well anecdotally is like as these things stack on each other, we don't look in both directions. Like we don't look backwards and forwards to say, how does this influence my thing?
Yeah, you're just trying to get your section.
Just doing your.
You were trying to get your section together.
That's exactly right.
I need 100% graduation rate. How do I make that happen? You don't need A's to graduate. You now need the C's. But the next person was like, oh dang, now my failure rate's up because your bar's different now. Now I can't say you need 70 credits to graduate because you've just told me I only need 10. Now I have to push mine to 50.
That's right.
And it's definitely a domino. I mean, everything in this world is a domino effect.
That's right.
But I think it's so large. We're in an ecosystem so large that it is hard to say the thing that it's literally doing the high school thing. I know it doesn't feel like that because it seems like a huge thing to do to change the way in which we rate and test people. But like that is a butterfly's wing in Florida that causes a hurricane in Maine.
Right. I like that.
It's you. I don't think people are making a decision right now to say I'm doing this thing because I'm going to do my thing better. I'm sure some people are doing that, but it's smaller microcosmic things that snowball into huge things for other people. But you don't know that it's your moment because you thought that you were doing the right thing. And I think people are thinking they do the right thing. And I think everybody's doing the best they can.
Yeah.
But it's snowballing into an effect later on. It's like, dang, why are this many people in poverty? Why are this many people doing this, that, and the other?
Yeah. I think that there's also this thing where we say, well, life's hard. And instead of trying to figure out whether we should prepare you for it or make it easier for you, we almost always default to making it easier for you because it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper to just move the goalpost than it is to say, well, hold on, we got to really dig in and make sure that all these people have everything that they need to do the things they need to do, right? But I think the downstream effects of that are long-term significantly worse, right?
That's what I'm saying.
We handle the trees and not the forest. And so I think that we pat ourselves on the back for going, well, life's hard, I've made accommodations.
That's just like plastic straws.
Right.
I mean, it's like paper straws.
It
it's
is,
like,
right. Yeah, right.
Like
That's
plastic
exactly right.
straws are bad.
Right.
We're killing trees because of plastic straws. And
Right.
somebody just flew their commercial vacation jet to
right.
Pluto.
That's exactly
and killed the Amazonian rainforest for one trip to Mars. So it's like, we tried to save a thing and we actually killed more things than we thought.
to Pluto.
Oh no! But the paper straws that are soggy, we got them.
I think it's right though. I think it's right, and we end up taking credit for like we did it. We did it. We made a difference.
We made people do paper straws.
We made a difference. We did a thing. And
Yeah,
look
we did
at the thing that we did.
Yeah.
Right? And I wonder how attracted we are to things that are like quick and tangible.
Oh, the brain.
Right.
The brain, it's the evolution of the brain requires it.
Right.
It's literally the same reason you can't see your nose.
Right. I love that. Right?
The brain said
it's
it's not worth looking at. But actually, we need to see the I know we don't, but like we need to see the things that are right in front of us that we ignore every day that don't seem like big things, but they're butterfly wings. They're causing huge problems. Like I don't.
Yeah, and they're all connected. I mean, the thing that's happened locally, I don't know if you saw this, but it had to do with, Cultivate Charlottesville released a statement that they're having a bit of thing? No, they're having a bit of a funding deficit, and I say that in the context of it's not about one organization, right? That is about the strength of the ecosystem.
No, yes,
right.
But I've heard a saying called. Something collapse where there's something small that it's like, oh, that flower died before it was. That flower was supposed to die in January, but it died in November.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, that's just a flower that died early. But in actuality, that thing was connected to another thing, and it's an ecosystem collapse.
Yeah.
But it starts off with very little things.
Yeah. It's like the bee thing. Remember, like 5 years ago, there was word about bees going extinct, and it was going to ruin the entire food
supposedly
chain.
they fixed that.
Good. For them.
The bees are back.
Okay, great. Good.
Before the corn
fix
shortage,
the food chain. Yeah, right. You know that it's one of those things.
Those things are the thing in the canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, oh, it's sad that something's happening to this person.
Yeah.
But what you don't know, the more scarier looming thing.
That's right.
Is that it is 2 seconds from happening to you.
Yeah.
Because none of us are operating in a vacuum.
Yeah. And what we're not talking about is, in this particular example, okay, so let's say that they're unable to provide a high quality service. That means that these elementary school kids who I'm working with aren't eating when they're going to school. That means that these kids either aren't finishing school or aren't achieving high in school, which means when they grow up, they're not going to post-secondary. They're not getting jobs. So who are they as adults, right? Now we're back in this same poverty thing because now they have unstable housing and they don't have transportation and they're not highly educated.
We are all TNT bomb boxes with lines. Who would have thought that if one goes off, you're like, oh, that can't believe that was an explosion.
Yeah. But
oh, girl, don't you worry about that explosion.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's right.
Because you won't believe in 10 more explosions and it'll be.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So I take those things very seriously. I hadn't heard that. So that to me, you should need to catch the signs early. We need to be intuitive. I
think so. It's a rubber meets the road moment, right? We talk about collective impact. We talk about all of the stuff, but like, can we do it? Because we only we have yet to, again, sort of crack that code of saying, like, here's how we've supported this apparatus as a collective, right? We all play in it to a degree, but, it's sort of like, when you live with roommates and, like, you're like, you live in the same space, but, y'all don't ever
you
really,
don't.
like,
We're not using the
get down like that. Yeah. And it's cordial and it's genial and it's fine. It's a good arrangement, but it's not,
not sustainable.
It ain't like that, And so it is one of those things that, and I think certainly from all of us that are in the business of fundraising and trying to figure out how to crack that code, it is, for an area with this much affluence, it leaves the mind fairly boggled, right? That again, we haven't made more progress on some of these things. And this is not necessarily calling anyone to task to that, but it is saying that in an area that has all the stuff and that people want to call sort of the best place on planet Earth, you gotta you gotta decide who you're gonna be, and you have to decide if you're gonna continue to strategically hide the parts that aren't good for tourism or if you're gonna fix them, right? And I think there's a lot of people committed to working on supporting the fixing of that.
So many people committed to the fixing of things.
Yeah.
You got to wake up every day and choose it.
I think so. You do.
Because this is a society that I have you asking yourself, why do this?
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's true. And when the incentives aren't aligned, it's easy to be like, ugh, right? I was talking to someone the other day and saying that this, the job, your job, my job, our jobs is a lot. I've had an interesting analog to having kids where, like, you have more moments of, like, high blood pressure, but the wins feel much better than the aggregate of those moments, right? And so you have to be okay with that. You have to understand that, like, you're gonna take your licks.
I've always said, the one person that I saved today.
Yeah. It's better than
worth a million tomorrow.
It's better than the losses. And I think, how do we stack those wins, and how do we stack them across domains and then celebrate them as being important to the whole. And that's the whole this conversation they had with the two women with the birth sisters, right? Like, the health of that organization is a huge win for all of us.
Yes.
Right? That organization growing and being sustainable and having more staff and better training and all of the stuff is a net win for all of us. Now, it probably doesn't show up on our radar for years. Right?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a documentary, everything's a documentary 20 years from now, that was like, they saved 1 million mothers.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, that's right. But who are those kids, right?
Yeah, like, what? Like, oh, yeah, we can track these back generations of people that they saved.
Yeah.
And those people went on to be doctors, and those people went on to be teachers, and those people went on to be the scientists that cured cancer.
That's right.
And all of that would have been impossible had we let that mother and that child die.
I think that's a real thing, and I think you got to look at these kids, right? And you got to look at them the same way you would look at all these other kids. They are the next doctors and lawyers and astronauts and academics. And
what did those celebrities in the 90s say? We are the world.
Yeah. They did, and they also sang "Where's the Love?" That
they
was
have
a big
always
one too.
been doing celebrity infomercials. I am sick. It ain't never going in. Just like the pandemic thing. What were they singing? They were singing "We Are the World," right? No, everybody on COVID, the celebrities, were singing.
Everyone was singing something.
They were all singing together during COVID virtually give us hope. Like, they were singing something. Not like "We Are the World," but like, and maybe they were singing "We Are the World."
Give us hope.
But they were singing
something. Tell us, Justin Timberlake, save us.
And they were like, I don't know what they were singing, but it was on virtual. And I was like, I guess they're trying to inspire the nation.
Save us, Ja Rule, from this medical crisis.
I can't remember. But yes.
That's crazy. That is a thing.
But we are the world. We are the children. We are the ones to make a brighter day. So let's start giving. Wow.
You know that song.
Yeah, no. Oh. Well, I mean, I do. Like, it's an infomercial. It's one of those things where you wake up in the middle of the night and the arms of the angels is playing. I was one of those kids that couldn't sleep.
I do know that.
And so they used to show them dogs on the TV.
They did, yeah.
In arms of an angel. I used to be like, yo, that's my joint.
Yeah.
Not because I like it, or that it's doing something for me, but it's like something sticking in your head.
Yeah, infomercial music.
Oh yeah, like I be singing "We Are the World." Even I don't care about it.
J.E. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
Yes,
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now.
Yeah, or the one where they're going to college.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't remember what it's called, but like it's about getting a degree.
Okay.
But it's going for free. Get connected for free. Education connection. Get connected for free. Education connection. I got my degree on my own time. Getting my degree online. Get connected.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's like
I do.
Those things used to be catchy. They was giving
They were. Yeah.
They had the best producers.
They did that, and like the Marks and Harrison with the Law and Order. Like yeah.
Yes.
You called the law office, Marks and Harrison. All right. Well, that was crazy. All right, finish this out. What is Let's talk about next year. What's going on next year? Give me 3 things you're looking forward to or big goals for next year.
Things I'm looking forward to. Well, my birthday's in January, so I'm looking forward to that.
Holler.
Aqua season.
Oh yeah.
We're working on Martin Luther King volunteer weekend right now with local nonprofits to, energize community members to volunteer in partnership with the Office of Equity and Diversity at Almar and Charlottesville. I don't know if you know, but MLK Day is our nation's only national day of service.
Is that right?
Yeah, there's a slogan. It's not a day off, it's a day on.
Oh, wow.
So looking forward to that. That's all in January, though. I think it's on the 16th this year. I think a lot of things are going. I think a lot of things are going on the 16th.
Yeah.
I think it's an inauguration that day too.
Is that when it is?
Yeah, it's the 16th. I think. Yeah, something like that. And then let me think. I don't know. Next year's my oyster. If that whatever that saying means. Another year in the books, I guess. What's the top 3 things for you you're looking forward to?
Man, my daughter's going to public school, so I'm looking forward to.
Is it like kindergarten? It's first grade.
Yeah, and kindergarten, not having to pay for.
What school are they going to?
She'll be at Baker Butler.
Cool.
Up Northern Alamo County. I'm looking forward to this community school work. I think we're gonna keep making it work. I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna, not we as in just me and us, but I think all of us are gonna fundamentally reimagine what public education means in Charlottesville, and I think we have to. I think we are in a relatively precarious position if we think about kind of the way the political winds are blowing and potential cuts to a Department of Education. We have to act swiftly and aggressively locally to make sure kids and our families have what they need, and I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to think about what policy prescriptions look like, and sort of what the next phase of our evolution is as practitioners and advocates is, which is exciting. I think we will be a little louder than we've been before, but I think we're in a good spot to move that forward. And I think early in the year it's always like love an NCAA tournament.
I know, March Madness.
Love it. I mean, it is such a wonderful time. My birthday is always like the first week, too.
I went to North Carolina for the ACC tournament last year for the women's basketball.
Did you?
Yeah. Tournament town, they call it, I guess.
Yeah. Love it.
I enjoyed myself a whole bunch.
Yeah. So that is just a wonderful time of year.
I guess I'm looking forward to that.
All ends up. Like, it's just a great month of I've never been so invested in games where I knew none of the players. Right, I'm just like, you want to watch like
not even one.
You want to watch, Furman and Washington State at 10:30 p.m. I absolutely will.
Absolutely,
I absolutely do. And I'm gonna pick a team and I'm gonna root for them. We're gonna make it happen. So yeah, that's always a wonderful time of year. And then I think continuing to figure out, how we do this stuff together. How do we re-energize that in the spring and figure out how we continue to make it happen.
We're on the grind.
That's right. That we are. All right. We did it.
Oh, my God. The holiday special's over.
First holiday special is in the books. If you guys have ideas for the show, want to get in touch with us, make sure you follow us on social media at United Way Seaville, at City of Promise, and again, Envision at United Way Seaville. The inbox is open. We get support on the show from the folks at United Way. We have a sponsor coming in the new year, too.
Woo!
We'll tell you who it is at some point. But we have the show is being sponsored. We will soon be syndicated across the airways internationally, I'm sure.
What does syndicated mean?
Not totally sure. I think it's just aired other places.
Oh, I was like, I've heard that. I'm like, what is syndicated?
Yeah, it sounds great though.
I thought it meant after a number of episodes, your show moves to like something.
I think Spotify will be calling soon. For the deal.
We're getting everybody's Spotify Wrapped's coming out.
I see that. Yeah, that's right.
So
we better be in your Spotify Wrapped. That's right.
Top podcast for 2025.
That's right. We should be in your Spotify Wrapped.
Predictions.
Certainly. The video on the horizon will be everywhere in 2025. That's right. That's right.
In 2025 we're gonna do it.
That's right. We're gonna make it happen. What else is there? What do we usually do at this end tag? Oh, there's no guests. We don't have anything to do about that.
We plug, but I don't have no
plugs.
plug.
Well, we'll just say, look, as we come through the holiday season, if you are considering Time Treasure Talent. Of course, a lot of great local organizations, but we will selfishly plug the United Way of Greater Charlottesville and City of Promise. Can always use your help in doing the work that we do.
Always.
And we will have a guest next week.
Yeah.
This is a once-a-year thing.
Supposedly.
But for Marki, this is Bryce. We will see you next week.
See you guys.